Welcome to the Barefoot Interview. Today we're speaking with Ryo Nakata, the lead singer and keyboardist of Osaka Monaurail. Welcome, Ryo. How are you?
Good. How are you doing,
Great.
Paul? Thank you for having me.
That's okay. No, I'm very good. Mate, could you perhaps get started by telling us a little bit about the kind of music that Osaka Monaurail plays?
Oh, Osaka Monorail. We're from Osaka. We live in Tokyo, Japan now, and we have been together for 20 years, actually almost 22 years, and we have been just playing funk. And James Brown, Rufus Thomas, Isaac Hayes, Curtis Mayfield, and the staple singers, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, that's the music that I love.
How did you come about meeting each other 20 years ago? How did the band come together?
Well, back in 1992, so it was like 22 years ago, and I was 19. I was in a big band, jazz big band. I was playing trumpet. When we were playing music of Count Basie, Duke Ellington. So we were having fun there, but I couldn't hit the higher notes, and I had to leave my trumpet. And then I decided to do the other love ever since I was a teenager, which was to form a funk group, a Japanese funk group. At that time, that was the early 90s, and the big things for me was the real groove movement coming out of London. People are listening to the funky music from the 70s. And, of course, hip-hop was kind of getting big at that time, and people started listening to, people started to kind of discover and rediscovering about the 60s and the 70s. And so that's what I wanted to do, to form a Japanese funk group.
You mentioned just then some of your influences were, Ray Charles, James Brown, Isaac Hayes. How were you introduced to these artists?
Well, of course, Ray Charles, James Brown, they have been big for many years. So they were big in Japan too.
Mm-hmm.
But the first big thing for me was I remember it very clearly when I was 16, I was listening to this radio show, and then the radio show had a commercial of the Japanese whiskey company, Suntory, and they featured Ray Charles, and then Ray Charles was singing that new version of the classic "What I Say," and with the new arrangement, and then and the moment I heard that song, it made it, that song, that new arrangement done me somehow. I couldn't, that was so shocking. It blew my mind, and then I decided to form a group. I didn't really know what the music was to be called, but I thought it was, I think it was the funk. And then, I started buying records, but there was, less information back in the 80s. So it took me about, like 5-6 years to actually learn the music and form a group, and,
Are there any key differences between a Japanese funk group and, your sort of typical American funk, or is it pretty much just the same thing performed by a Japanese artist?
Well, I guess funk is just an American thing. I don't think there is anything like a Japanese version of funk music, but you can say that there is different versions of funk music, funk bands. What I'm saying is that there were funk bands in the 60s, and there were funk bands in the 70s, and there were funk bands in the 80s, and they all sound different.
Yeah.
Different instruments, different styles, different beats, And I guess back in the 80s, people were playing with a touch of go-go rhythm. And back in the 70s, I think they had a touch of jazz in funk. And in the 90s, they were doing different styles. So there are many variations in funk. But I'm really like to kind of look at. I want to learn much from the 60s style.
60s, beautiful, great. The group you said has been together for 22 years, and I know it has 8 members. Has that lineup changed over time?
Well, we had many people come and go. When we started out in 1992, we were like a 20-piece band because the big band style was kind of regular to us. But then I had many people come in and they leave. Most of them come and stay for 3 years and they're gonna leave. But my guitar player Dan, he has been with me for 12 years now, and the tenor man Shimon has been with me for 10 years. The trumpet Kentaro, he plays with me for 10 years,
So with those people coming and going, did that sort of change, the band's influences at all? Has that changed the sound as people have
Well,
come?
it doesn't really, because I really recruit people who are ready to learn the music.
Mm-hmm.
That's very difficult for it's almost impossible to find a musician who knows much about the funk from the late 60s. It's really most of the musicians, they learn the music, either the music from today or the music from the 50s. If you're a jazz musician, you should have to learn the music from the 50s, right?
Yeah.
But people don't really learn the music from the 60s, especially the late 60s.
Do you mostly play covers then, or do you also create your own work?
Well, we play usually we play 3 or 4 original tunes, and we would play, 8, 9, 10 soul classics.
Yeah.
When we do a show. That's what I want to do. I don't really, honestly, I'm not really interested in writing our original tunes or developing our own stuff. I'm not really interested in that. I just all I want to do is just to duplicate the original sound.
Yeah, right. So with those 4 original tunes that you might play, how do you go about writing those? Is that a collaborative process?
Yeah, right. We just go into a room and do a rehearsal. We rehearse very often, 3 days a week. And we start out a jam session, and everything will be recorded. And if that jam session goes very well, I put it in an archive, and then later on I can develop it to a song, with a bridge or with an intro and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's a very organic process. Beautiful. Now, I know that your band has toured through Europe many times, and for the 20th anniversary, you embarked on a North American tour. How does it feel for you to perform in different countries? Do you find that audiences respond to you differently than they do at home in Japan?
They are very different. They're very different. People from Japan, people from England, people from Australia, Canada, Germany, Italy. They're all different. Like if you go to England, if you go to cities like London, and they are ready to have fun with the music, but I feel that vibe of kind of ready to do some judgments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they kind of they do know music. If you play in the city,
Yeah, they've got expectations. You mean their expectations are set?
Yeah, you got it. You know. So it's all different. Whether you play in nightclubs or you play concerts, or if you play in city or in countryside, or if you play in daytime or nighttime, or, outside, inside. They are different. All the gigs are different to me. If you go to countries like France or Italy or Spain, and they're ready to have fun, they don't care about messages because they don't understand English, right? So they're ready to have fun. I got to be ready to have fun too. Germany is a country, as I understand, is a country where a lot of people do know about soul music. So I meet many DJs, many dancers, many people who are very familiar with the music. So sometimes I have to be very particular about what songs we play and how we do it.
Do you have a favorite performance or a favorite place that you've performed from your career?
I love everywhere. I just can't point out just one. But last year I went to Melbourne for the very first time. And that was very exciting to me. How
did you find Australia?
Well, Melbourne was a big music city. I never was aware of that.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of bands. I met Deep Street Soul. I met Cactus Channel. I met the DJ Manchild at the radio station PBS. Well, so I really felt that vibe of Melbourne as funky city. So it was a big motivation to me. So that was exciting.
So you're looking forward to coming back? You're going to catch up with anybody you met last time?
Oh yes.
Have you played a WOMAD festival before, or will this be your first festival type gig?
No. This is going to be our very first time to participate.
Oh, WOMAD's a pretty special experience, I reckon. So I think it'll be one of those that you can put up there at the top of your list of experiences. I read that you had a pretty unique opportunity to collaborate with a pretty key artist. I mean, if you know what I'm alluding to, are you able to tell us a little bit more about that?
Oh, yes. I had a great chance to work with Marva Whitney. I also had a great chance to work with Mr. Fred Wesley, the trombone player from the James Brown Revue.
Yeah.
As well. But working with Marva was a big thing for me. It happened in 2006. Actually, in 2005, I gave my 45 records to Mr. Perry Lewis out of London, the dancer, and Mr. Perry Lewis gave that records to Mr. DJ Perry, and he was the manager to Miss Marva Whitney. And he and Marva had this great idea to go to Japan and to use Osaka Monaurail as a backup band. And then Marva listened to our sound and she liked it. And I had to book gigs, and I actually promoted the shows by myself. And we did the first tour in 2006 in Japan. Marva Whitney came to Japan for the very first time as a solo artist. And the shows were very successful. And we did one more tour in Japan, and I think we did three. I think we did 3 or 4 tours in Europe with Marva Whitney, and she sadly passed away in 2012.
Pretty great experience.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That's something different. That's very something special. You're working with somebody who you have been looking up to ever since you was a teenager.
Yeah, absolutely. looks like you've put out an album just about every year since 2002, I think. If you could quickly tell us perhaps what process goes into choosing the songs for your albums.
Well, like I usually record like 15 songs, or I do many recording sessions without planning an album.
Yeah.
We just do like 5 or 6 recording sessions, and we pick up the songs if we have enough songs to put out. I put out, but I will use another 3 or 4 months to do the mixings. I spend much time on mixings, Yeah, so like I never actually plan or design one album like people do these days.
Yeah.
I just do recording sessions without plans.
And just
That's
take it.
how they were doing back in the 60s. So, they don't really think about. They were not talking about albums. They were talking about singles back in the day. So that's how I want to do it.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, my last question before I let you go: what can we expect from your performance at Worm Adelaide when you come on the 8th of March?
Oh, okay. We will play in. Oh boy, we'll be playing what we do. We'll be playing James Brown, Ray Charles, Bud Bacharach, Isaac Hayes, as well as our original tunes. And I hope that we are doing better than any band in the world, when we come to Isaac Hayes and James Brown and Ray Charles.
Great.
That's what I wanted to do.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it. Thank you, Rio, for your time. It's great to talk to you, and we do look forward to seeing you at Worm Adelaide, which is from the 7th to the 10th of March this year in Adelaide, and your performance on the 8th of March, one time only, so we better make sure we're over there seeing that show. Have a great day, and thanks for chatting to us today.
Okay, Paul. Thank you so much.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.